Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, I'm John and welcome back to my channel, Musings of a Marine. Thanks for tuning in. Sure appreciate all the views I got on my retiring in Iloilo video. 135 people viewed it. Much appreciated. So I'm glad somebody's watching out there, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Today is February 14th. And Valentine's Day is not just something that we celebrate with our significant others, but it really is to spread love throughout the world. So we're going to get right into it here. Today's episode is going to be about Diana and I's last trip to the Philippines, my 7th trip to the country. Sadly, it wasn't for a good reason necessarily. When we left there in December, or actually January of 2015, by that time, Mama, my mother-in-law, was already bedridden, was pretty much completely out of it mentally. And I really thought, and I think Diana did too, that we'd probably be going back there in a couple of years for her wake. But as it happened, that strong old lady just kept on kicking, and with the great care she got from her two nurses there, nephew Pito and niece Annette, she kept going for a long time, and obviously it took almost 4 years from the last time we had saw her until finally she succumbed to just being too weak to even breathe anymore. My brother-in-law Romeo was already over there with his wife Joy and son Raphael, and they were visiting. Sadly, my brother-in-law Ali, him and his family had been over there in September, and Ali thought about coming back, but they had just been over there. The time off of work, having to pull his son Kenji out of school wasn't the best of ideas, so sadly he couldn't be there for the wake. But we got a call from Romeo one night in October, and it was actually during the day our time, and saying that Mama was having a hard time breathing. And then that night Romeo called us, and it was a Sunday night, and said that she had passed. So on the Iloilo once again, I had to go into work the next day and tell my boss that I needed some time off. And I don't think he was expecting me to tell him 4 weeks, but that's how long we were gone. But that wasn't the only thing we had to contend with. How to get over there. Romeo had used Expedia's website to get over there, so we tried that. But for some stupid reason, we couldn't get the flight that we wanted. There's some technical difficulty. I actually tossed to a customer service rep, and they couldn't get it to work. And I was pretty upset and stressed out about it. This was like a Thursday, and we were supposed to leave that Sunday, and they still didn't have a flight arranged. So I was pretty angry about all of that, needless to say. But my wife's cousin, Marife in Toronto, God bless her, bailed us out. She put us in touch with someone with Philippine Airlines. And let me tell you, that if you live in the Detroit area and you're going to fly to the Philippines, the best way to do it is to drive to Toronto, park your car there at the Pearson Airport in Mississauga, and take the direct flight on Philippine Airlines right to Manila. Kind of stinks being in the plane for 17 hours, but once you're there, you're there. And there's no layovers anywhere else. You don't have to worry about your luggage getting lost. And since we took Philippine Airlines the whole way, rather than having to claim our luggage, drag it to the domestic airport in Manila, and then fly to Iloilo, they transferred it right onto our Iloilo flight because of the fact that we were doing Philippine Airlines the whole way. So fortunately, Faye put us in touch with a friend of hers, was a travel agent. Within a half hour, had us all set up. We drove there on a Saturday night to Nonoy Warren, Di's cousin, and he took us out to dinner with his daughters Janine and Jessica, and then we dropped the girls off, picked up Faye, and off to the airport we went, and said goodbye to them, and much appreciated. They gave us a place to park our car for free, took us to the airport, picked us up from the airport when we came back. I can't say enough how much I appreciate their friendship that they've given us over the years through all of this. So, and they did the same thing for Romeo and his family when they went over there. So anyways, we get on the flight and off we go to Manila, and it was long and it was boring, but we were there, and we had this, what we thought was going to be about a 5-hour layover. Took longer than that, though, because I guess they couldn't figure out what plane we were going to fly on, and we had to wait for one to come in from Bacolod, unload those passengers and their luggage, and then finally we were on our way to Iloilo, and Baba was at the airport waiting for us, and he had to go back to work, and the flight being delayed, I'm sure it didn't make his boss happy, but such is life. We got there, and it was Baba and Pedro, Di's oldest brother, and her cousin June, who drives our jeepney, that picked us up, and we took the drive to our house there in Iloilo. And by that time, since it had been it had been over a week since Mama had died, she was already laying in state in our living room at that time. So that was how that worked out. And then we had to prepare for the wake. Now, I'll tell you one thing I really did enjoy about this trip was I had met a lot of Di's friends and relatives over the years, but not many on her mom's side. And in fact, what relatives I had met, I didn't even know that they were on her mom's side. So they were the Hubalag family. Come to find out, June, our jeepney driver, was from Di's mom's side. So got to get to know some of his kids through that. And also some of Di's cousins from Manila flew in. And that was quite a pleasant surprise there, too. The second day we were there, we come back from the store. We're getting out of the taxi in front of our house. And here comes this family getting out of a vehicle, too, at our house. And the next thing I know, I'm shaking hands with this guy and shaking hands with 3 of his children. And I'm thinking, who are these people? I tell you what, though. You sure got 2 good-looking daughters. So, Pat, Natalie, if you're watching, yeah, that was my first impression. So, anyways, we go into the house, and apparently the man is Arnie, Di's first cousin, and he actually lived with their family when he was younger, so he was very close to Mama, too. And he's the only one that really eulogized her at the funeral mass. So that was nice. Me and Raphael, my nephew, did the readings. And Raphael, I mean, he's like 9 years old at the time, and he just killed it. And I've learned later on in life that he is very good at talking. So, but anyways, so the wake went on, and I got to know some of the relatives, but also one night we got back, and I noticed some of the younger crowd was playing Uno, and apparently now the card game Uno is very popular over there. Finally, a game I could sit down with somebody and play, and actually knew how to play it. So I get to talking with Natalie about it, and tell her about the way we play here in the States, the cutthroat method. She invites me to play. We end up playing the way I'm accustomed to, and I really had a good time getting to know her and her sister Pat and Arjun, her brother, and some of the other relatives. I'm sitting next to this one girl and didn't even realize that she was another one of Di's cousins. Her name was Diana, and I had met her, almost 4 years previously, and didn't even recognize her because she'd grown up. And so it was nice to see her and see how she's doing, and apparently well also. So, and also members of the Jaime family. So, and there was also another lady that showed up one day for the wake, and I looked at her and I says, boy, does she look familiar. And her name was Minifel. And So I go and I grab my iPad and I go on my Facebook page and I see that her and I are friends on Facebook, and we had never even met. So I got to meet her. The first night of the wake, or Baba's current girlfriend at the time, Annie, came over with her family, and I was already friends with her and her dad on Facebook, and got to meet them. I walked out in the living room where they were sitting, shook Annie's dad's hand and introduced myself, and got to meet her mom and her attractive sister Diana, or not Diana, but actually it is Diana. So, well, a lot of Dianas in there, isn't there? Holy cow, I'm getting confused. But yeah, so that's how that worked out. And then Annie came in the house and saw me, and we had a nice chat with the family, and I really did appreciate that. So that was pretty good. Annie Rose and Diana Rose. There you go. They love to have the middle name Rose, I guess. Their dad's name was Rosini, so I guess that's where that came from. So I'm saying this very cheerfully, but unfortunately we did have to put Mama in the tomb next to Papa. That was the sad part, and of course it was, a hot day, and we did have a little bit of rain too. But after the mass and everything, we went back, and of course I played a little bit more cards with the younger crowd. And I like hanging out with the younger crowd when I'm over there. They seem to be more intrigued about the U.S. and more apt to want to speak English with me than the people my age. So that was a fun thing, and I really appreciate the welcoming that I got from those people, and still maintain a good Facebook friendship, particularly with Natalie to this day, and I'll get into as to why here in a little bit. But anyways, another sad part about this wake though was that Baba had a job now where he worked a lot of long hours, and we didn't get to hang out much together. But one day was really nice. Our condo was close to being built. They had already completed the first tower, and we got to tour that. And Baba was with us. We got to swim in the swimming pool on top of the Richmond Hotel there in Megaworld. That was a lot of fun. So we did get to spend some quality time, but the best quality time I got to spend there was a couple days before we left. Baba took the day off from work, and him, Pito, and I went to Guimaras. We went to this resort by the ruins of the old Geysi lighthouse there in Guimaras, and enjoyed some time there at the beach. Wasn't a great beach for swimming. There was rocks everywhere, but it was a nice place. And for me, it was just nice to be able to spend some quality time with my two best friends over there. And that's how I viewed that. Because honestly, I don't think we'll ever get to do that again. So that's pretty much how it all happened. And, not a whole lot of other great details. Michael gave us a tour of the city. Hilo is growing like you would not believe. That's why I want to retire there, though I still am working on die with that. But think about it. In the last 15 months since we've left there, so much has happened to not only me, but a lot of other people too. 5 months later, I donated a kidney to my brother. And also that month, it was, Pito was well on his way to immigrating to London to be reunited with his sweetheart, Carmel. And he did leave that March to go to England in March of 2019, and he's over there now and well established, and they're together, and I'm hoping the next time we go to Iloilo, it'll be for their wedding. So that's what happened with him. Bob and Annie broke up. Annie's now married to somebody else, so that's kind of an unfortunate development there, but that's what happened. And Natalie, she got the opportunity to intern at the beach club at West Palm Beach, Florida, a state I've never even been to, and she is currently there. enjoying herself. She went to Orlando recently and seems to be having a good time, made some friends. And the nice thing about it, and something I really appreciated, was when she found out she was going to get a chance to intern at a hotel or a resort here in the States. I'm the one she contacted to talk about, what it might be like. And I encouraged her, she's a smart girl. She speaks fluent English and just very friendly. And I knew she would do well, and she sure seems to be. So that's how my 7th trip to the Philippines went. And unfortunately, it's kind of long-winded, so I'm going to stop here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sure do appreciate it. Semper Fi. Happy Valentine's Day once again. Go spread some love somewhere. Take care.